Yo, it's time to subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. What are you doing?
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous.
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. Like the video. Come on.
Hell
you know
yeah.
the drill.
Button.
And slap that like button.
In today's Destiny 2 build guide, we're going to be talking about the Icefall Mantle Exotic gauntlets for the Titan. They just received a pretty sizable buff, and they're performing really well in PvE right now. This build is going to allow us to take Stasis Titan to the next level without having to give up one of the best abilities in the game, the Consecration Slam. This build's going to provide us with Amplified, Solar Ignitions, Sever, Radiant, Frost Armor on demand, and we will also be gaining Devour for the ultimate survivability in endgame. So Bungie reworked the Icefall Mantles recently. They now gain a stack of Frost Armor for rapid stasis final blows. Each time you gain a stack of Frost Armor, you will heal for a small amount, and every time you pop your class ability, you'll now gain maximum stacks of Frost Armor. That is a ×5 Frost Armor for a total of 22.5 damage resistance. Now this will provide additional stacks of Frost Armor if you have Whisper of Rhyme equipped, but that is going to force us to be on just a stasis subclass if we want Whisper of Rhyme. Therefore, we would have to give up the Consecration Slam. And honestly, if we're being real here, Consecration Slam is one of the best abilities in the entire game right now. Getting slightly more damage resist isn't worth it in my opinion, but you can run Icefall Mantle on a total stasis build if you guys want to go that route. I would just say stick with Prismatic Titan. These will also immediately heal for each stack that gets added of Frost Armor, and it no longer prevents sprinting or jumping abilities, and this now works with the Thruster equipped, which has the lowest cooldown for your class ability, and your class ability energy now begins to recharge immediately after using Icefall Mantle's class ability. It no longer provides bonus stasis weapon damage, and it now requires a stasis super to be equipped to benefit from its exotic effects. So a lot of things going on right there, a lot of changes, and a lot of those changes for the better in my opinion. So we are on the Prismatic Titan. Obviously, we're on the Glacial Quake. Glacial Quake is extremely strong, especially in the new dungeon. Been seeing a lot of crazy things that the Stasis Titan is doing in there. Definitely a good super. For the abilities, we are on the Thruster, mainly because it has the lowest base cooldown at 36 seconds. For your melee, you're going to want to take Frenzied Blade, mainly due to the fact that we can get 3 melee charges with this. And not only can we combine this with the Consecration, but we can actually just use it to sever targets to get that darkness debuff going. And then we have the Glacier Grenade, just because we're building into stasis even more. I like the Glacier Grenade, more ice on the field for us to shatter. Then for our aspects, we are taking the Knockout. Critically wounding a target or breaking their shield infuses your melee attack with arc energy and increases your melee range and damage for a short time. Defeating targets with a melee attack makes you amplified and restores a portion of your health. Defeating more powerful combatants increases the amount of health restored. Extra health is always a good thing. It's going to help keep you alive. Then, like I mentioned earlier, of course, we have the Consecration Solar aspect. While sliding, activate your charged melee ability to launch a wave of solar energy forward, damaging and scorching targets in front of you as you leap in the air. While you're airborne, activate your charged melee again to slam to the ground and create a second larger wave of damaging solar energy. If the wave hits the scorched target, they ignite. Then for our first fragment, we have the Facet of Courage. Our arc, solar, and void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted with darkness debuffs. So we can sever enemies with our Frenzied Blade, and then we can do the Consecration Slam for even more damage with Facet of Courage. Then we have Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. While Transcendent, the effect is increased. And we have Facet of Hope. While you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly. So Frost Armor will count as an elemental buff, Amplified will count as an elemental buff, Radiant and Devour will count as an elemental buff, and we're going to be taking advantage of all of those. So we're going to have our class ability up at all times so we can get that Icefall Mantle perk to proc. Then we have Facet of Dawn. Powered melee hits against targets make you radiant. Power melee final blows make you and your nearby allies radiant. We are going to be spamming that Consecration Slam, so we're going to be radiant a lot, and that's going to give us an extra 25% damage increase to our weapons. And then we have Facet of Ruin. It's going to increase the size and damage of the burst when you shatter a stasis crystal or frozen target, and it's going to increase the area of effect of our solar ignitions. So whenever we throw our Glacier Grenade, whenever we activate our class ability and freeze enemies, those explosions are going to be bigger. And once again, spamming that Consecration Slam, those ignitions are going to be bigger. Now let's take a look at the artifact. I got Wind Chill, Rapid Stasis Weapon Precision Hits grant you a stack of Frost Armor. Rapid Precision Hits from weapons with Dark Ether Reaper origin trait grant you more stacks of Frost Armor. This is just once again feeding into our infinite uptime on the Frost Armor resistance. We're going to have the Power from Pain, Rapid Final Blows against weakened combatants grant you Devour. This is how we're going to be getting Devour to help keep us alive. And how are we going to weaken targets? Well, we got the Concussive Reload. Using a grenade launcher to damage a boss, damage a champion, or break a combatant shield weakens them. Then we defeat them to gain Devour. We also have Hail to the Storm. Shattering a stasis crystal releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets. And if you boost this, shattering the frozen target and stasis crystals deal increased damage. And we have Armor of Aramis. While Frost Armor is active, taking critical damage from combatants causes you to emit a freezing burst. Then for the weapon, I'm using the Excuvate Stasis Hand Cannon. Got Headstone for even more crystals, and Rhyme Stealer Enhanced. So whenever we destroy a crystal with this hand cannon, we automatically gain 2 stacks of Frost Armor. We've got the Velocity Baton, the grenade launcher that we're going to use to pair with the artifact perk so we can weaken enemies. And then we've got the Salvation Grip for even more stasis crystals on the field. Now getting into the armor mods, hands-on from our super energy when we do those consecration slams, heavy ammo finder so we can spam our heavy grenade launcher, harmonic siphon, going to be getting a lot of stasis weapon final blows with our hand cannon. Then I've got a couple of focusing strike mods on my gauntlets. It's going to grant us class ability energy when you cause damage with a powered melee attack. Pairs really well with the consecration slam. We've got heavy handed. Our powered melee final blows create orbs of power to pair with the consecration slam. On the chest piece, I've got 2 charged up mods. It's going to increase the maximum number of stacks of the armor charge. We can carry by 1 and these stacks, so we're going to get 2 additional stacks. Then you can use a resistant mod, but I got void reserves on here. Then on the boots, we have stacks on stacks. Picking up an orb of power grants you 1 additional stack of armor charge. Will help us get to max stacks that much easier. We got invigoration, reduces melee cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power, so we can get that consecration slam even more. Recuperation replenishes our health each time we pick up an orb of power. On the class item, we've got a Reaper. So after we pop our class ability, we get a weapon final blow that'll spawn an orb. Then we got 2 utility kickstarts on our class item. So now whenever we pop our class ability, now we have max armor charge, we pretty much automatically get half of our class ability back. The more class ability we can pop, the higher uptime we got on that Frost Armor. And that is going to do it for the build, my friends. Radiant, Amplified, Devour, Frost Armor, the ability to sever enemies, and of course, one of the most powerful abilities in the game, that Consecration Slam. This build is very good. I'm going to put a dim link in the pinned comment if you guys want to try it out. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Leave a like if you enjoyed this content. Follow me on Twitch and TikTok for the live streams. I'll catch you guys later.